All right, ladies and gentlemen, so I got a very interesting story if you are a Final Fantasy XIV fan about supposedly the most controversial plugin, third-party plugin that was used for the game to stalk people, apparently. The plugin has been shut down. It was shut down after the person reportedly got a cease and desist from Square Enix. It's a very interesting story, and it's something that I feel like we should cover. And also, too, keep in mind that I feel like when things like this kind of hit the fan and get a lot of mainstream press, so to speak, there is just naturally going to be copycats. I feel like even though they shut down this third-party plugin, I'm sure there's going to be other people that are going to try to do the same exact thing. So let's get into this video. But of course, before we do, special shout out to the 90,500 of you that are subscribed to the channel right now. And if you are part of the 50% that are not subscribed, consider hitting that subscribe today. I would greatly appreciate it. So let's go down here, and it says a controversial third-party plugin used by some Final Fantasy XIV players have been permanently shut down following a cease and desist notice. I have to wonder, what would you use this plugin for? Like, why would you even use this plugin for in the first place, bro? It's Final Fantasy XIV. Why would you ever get so serious to the point where you're trying to stalk someone? I just find it to be very odd. But in any case, a message on the Player Scope Discord, which I guess was the name of the plugin, shared on Reddit, details the web backend has been taken offline and all of the stored data has been permanently and irreversibly deleted. While the plugin files have been completely removed from GitHub and Gitflick, there will be no further update, support, or development from my side, said the tool's creator. So exactly, right? So he's saying he's no longer going to support the plugin. But the simple fact is, other people will probably pick up the work, right? Other people will probably, see what he did and try to copycat it and continue to work and make their own mod and run the risk of being sued by Square Enix and whatnot. There is no doubt going to be copycats about this, 100%. While Playerscope hasn't specified where the cease and desist notice had come from, back in January of this year, Final Fantasy XIV producer and director Yoshida shared news that Square Enix was considering taking legal action against the creator of a third-party tool. That's how bad it got. It got so bad that the people at Square Enix, number one, they knew about it. Number two, were considering actually using lawyers to try to take this guy down. That's how bad this plugin was. But let's talk about it. So Eurogamer contacted Square Enix for clarification. Yoshida has long warned players against using third-party plugins, which, if you guys don't play Final Fantasy XIV, just so you are aware, they don't like mods. They don't like plugins. It's not like World of Warcraft. They don't like any of that. They've always banned it since day one. And sure, there's been some third-party plugins for the game, but it's one of those things where you have to use it at your own risk. I remember when I played the game, I used a DPS meter for a very short while, and then I could just kind of give it up at that point because I just didn't even want to risk the account. But in any case, he's repeatedly called out players for cheating during Ultimate Raid challenges. However, the Player Scope tool in particular has been used for nefarious intentions. The plugin would allow the following. They would allow anyone to search for a Final Fantasy XIV character name to receive that player's account details, which is wild, by the way, including information of all the characters on that account. The player information was also uploaded to a central server combining all the data. Essentially, this allowed for in-game harassment and stalking. In short, as one Reddit user put, the plugin was a stalker's wet dream. That is crazy. That is crazy, bro. Why would you even why would you even go that far in this game? Who could you hate that much in Final Fantasy XIV that you need to find out everything and anything about their account? That's wild to me. In short, again, we strive to offer and maintain a safe environment for our players, which is why we ask everyone to refrain from using third-party tools, said Yoshida back in January. In February, Square Enix stated it was making changes to how characters were blacklisted, although third-party tools were able to get around this, something the company admitted was very problematic. That's insane. So even if you block someone, it didn't matter. If they had a third-party tool, they could get around it. How crazy is that, bro? You try to block someone for whatever reason may be. Let's say someone's, just being a dick to you or whatever, and you block them. Third-party tools were able to get around that. Yeah, needless to say, that's definitely problematic. And then he says, while it had countermeasures in place, Square Enix did not disclose what those countermeasures were. Now, however, Player Scope has been completely shut down and says this wasn't an easy decision, but it was necessary, said the creator of the tool. And still, while players have mostly praised the decision, some have concerns the database of player information may still exist somewhere else. Now, I'm going to be very real with you. I absolutely think that the information that they got, this person, I absolutely believe that it is available somewhere else. I also absolutely believe that this third-party plugin will be picked up by someone else and it will be continued. However way that may be, it's going to be continued. This is absolutely insane, without a doubt. And the fact that someone could get all your account information by simply knowing your character name, what the fuck, bro? Square Enix needs to 100% get on this and get on this in a more permanent solution, because even though he took everything down after a cease and desist letter, I think they should continue forward. I think they should probably, maybe, I don't know if they could subpoena him for all the information. I don't know if they could just like figure out if he sent this information elsewhere. I really don't know, but it's pretty wild, man. But unfortunately, the internet's the internet, and I don't really think they're going to be able to stop this fully. I think people are 100% going to be able to pick this up and continue the work and continue the plugin. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see this plugin show up somewhere, somehow on the internet somewhere else. That's just what it's going to be. It would allow anyone to search for a Final Fantasy XIV character name to receive that player's full account details, including information of all characters on that account. Player information was also uploaded to a central server combining all the data. They're not very specific. They're not very specific with what they're saying here, because when you say that you can receive that player's account details and they say including information of all characters on account, does that mean you could get their personal account details too? Does that mean that you could get personal account details too? Are we talking about like first name, last name, everything? Does it go that far? That would be insane. Yes? Oh my god, bro, that would be insane. It's possible? Oh man. You think only just Lodestone info? I mean, but if that's the case, I mean, Lodestone does that itself, right? Why would people freak out if Lodestone does that itself, right? So I don't know. So in any case, we're going to find out what continues to happen with this particular story. I think it's a wild one. I think people are going to definitely make a bit of a bitch fit more than they probably already are about it. And Square Enix has tried to downplay it as much as they want. But you can clearly see this is a big problem on their back end. Pause, of course. It's a big problem on their back end, and they need to figure out what they're going to do about it. So you guys can let me know in the comments down below. What do you think is going to happen from this? Do you think somebody's going to pick up the work? Do you think they're going to continue the work of this particular plugin? Do you think it's a problematic plugin? Do you think it's something that's silly? Let me know in the comments down below if you agree or disagree with the sentiment. And again, special shout out to the 90,500 of you that are subscribed to the channel right now, and the 50% that are not subscribed. If you enjoyed the video and enjoyed the coverage, hit the subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next one.